it's still like 70, 75 degrees. Sun's been down for a while. Man, welcome to Florida. Welcome to the South. My name's Donovan Thurman. Join me and my dog Remi as we travel off the beaten path in my trusty old Subaru. In December 2019, my dog Remi and I traveled across the country to the southeastern United States. We've spent the last couple of months camping and exploring the wilderness and coastlines of North Carolina. Today we're making the 7-hour drive down to northeast Florida to get a taste of something a bit more tropical, and hopefully by the end of today's drive, I'll fulfill the camping dream that has been pestering me for years. So we just crossed the border from North Carolina to South Carolina on our way down to Florida, and we are going to be on an awesome campsite tonight, hopefully, if everything goes to plan. Amelia Island, a place so steeped in history it's a wonder it's not talked about more often in our history books. 8 different flags have flown on this 13-mile stretch of land, from the Spanish conquests, pirate plunderers, Civil War battles, and local rebellions. The history here is rich enough to satisfy the most passionate of history buffs, myself included. Today, it's a beautiful beach destination for travelers and the place where I'm determined to fulfill a long-time camping dream. So this is my spot for the night. Costs $5 to get a permit to drive and camp on the beach. And yeah, I was a little bit nervous about driving on the sand, but I aired the tires down and didn't have a problem. So it's getting kind of dark. I don't think I'm gonna cook dinner. I'm just too tired from driving. So yeah, I think just gonna relax a little bit, walk around, stretch my legs, and get ready for some sleep. In the morning and I'm perfectly comfortable in shorts and a t-shirt. Not bad. Pretty awesome way to wake up, and it's pretty awesome that it's this early in the morning, and again, shorts and t-shirts, and I'm perfectly comfortable. Even Remi's not throwing too much of a fit. So I think the game plan for today, I might actually climb back in the car and take a nap. I kept waking up last night and didn't get a whole bunch of good sleep, but then later on I'm probably gonna make my way down to Daytona Beach, which is about another 2 hours down the interstate, then head into the National Forest and find a spot to camp. I do need to make a couple of check on a couple things before I head out. I think my front axle stub seal is starting to leak a little bit, and it's dripping on my exhaust, so I want to check the fluid level in the front diff, make sure it's not getting too low. I don't know exactly how long it's been leaking, but I noticed it on the way down here, so I'm going to check on that. Unfortunately, I think I have a short in one of my power cables for my dual battery system, so it's not currently charging my auxiliary battery. Not a huge deal. This isn't like a super long trip, and I'm not depending on the battery a whole lot, so I'll just be able to charge with whatever's left in that secondary battery, and then while I'm driving I can just use the cigarette lighter stuff. Now I'm just gonna climb back in the car and relax for a bit, probably eat some breakfast. Napping accomplished, it's time for a futile attempt to remove some sand from the car. Then I drive back to the beach parking lot to air up my tires. But I'm distracted by some gorgeous figures. I'm sure most men can relate. Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, I was airing up my tires and suddenly there's a truck full of E-Type Jags and a Ferrari right in front of me, unloading for a car show. So, gave me something to look at while I was waiting for my terrible compressor to air up, but ooh, that's a really old Ferrari. Proper racing Ferrari. So, update. I'm currently at Lowe's, parked in the shade. Went in and grabbed a clamp-on amp meter slash multimeter to try and figure out what was going on with the dual battery system, and I think at this point that the circuit breaker I installed is no good, because I watched the amps sit at like 23, 24 volts, which is right on spec for the C-Tech, and then the breaker tripped, and it's supposed to be a 30 amp breaker, so I think the breaker's no good. But now I'm trying to pick out a spot in around here to spend the night, because I've killed quite a bit of time. It's 1 o'clock now. I decide to ponder my camping choices over some food. Okay, this is a big moment. My first Whataburger. And I've ultimately decided to drive to Jennings State Forest. The map I found indicates some primitive camping sites, which I took to mean free. They aren't. However, choosing this location saved me about 2 hours of driving, and at this point, I'll happily pay the $10 for that alone. So, I found my spot. Campsite 10. And I was right, I am gonna have to pay. And I was driving around on these roads trying to remember the last time I paid to camp in a campground. And I honestly can't remember. I know I mean, it's probably been more than 10 years. Yeah, I think it's probably been more than 10 years. I didn't feel like driving the extra 2.5 hours down to the National Forest, so this was close. It's really pretty. I love seeing all these palmettos. I think they're palmettos. That's what I've been telling myself they are. And the pine trees, and it's interesting because I haven't smelled a forest that reminds me of home since I left. And it's, you know, forests have a smell, and this one is reminding me of home. I smell pine sap, a little bit of decaying leaves. It's like a little taste of home, but it's 80 degrees and humid. It's interesting. Are you going to be picky because you had a piece of a burger? Well, my butane container died before it was completely done. Luckily, it's all already cooked. It's just not going to be as hot as I wanted it. And so far, I haven't noticed too many issues with mosquitoes, but the flies are kind of irritating. And these little tiny no-see-em things. So I think I'm gonna eat and hide out in the car. Because we've been walking around in the forest, I give Remi a quick look over for ticks before climbing back into the car. Tell you what, so last night on the beach, it seemed weird to be comfortable just under this throw blanket here. Now, I'm sure for Floridians, 55% humidity is not that bad. Holy crap. Someone from the West Coast, this is this is just ugh. It's still like 70, 75 degrees. Sun's been down for a while. Oh, poor Remi. She is stretched out. If she's not curled up in a ball, she is hot. I got the door propped open here, trying to get a little bit more air. Man, welcome to Florida. Welcome to the South. Well, I did finally get some decent sleep after playing with these new cushions and stuff. Got comfortable, even Remi got comfortable once the temperature finally kind of cooled down. Clearly the bugs don't take a vacation. I think we're just going to spend the rest of the day or at least the rest of this morning, kind of driving around and checking out this state forest here. And then we'll probably start making our way back. Taking in my surroundings as I pack up and clean camp, I can't shake the feeling that I'm getting ready to leave on a jungle safari. So forgive me while I let my imagination commandeer this journey, and forget for just a couple hours that I'm not 20 minutes from the nearest gas station. So I have to admit, this is bringing back a little bit of feelings of home. The humidity and all the palmettos and stuff is weird. Palmettos. But just kind of bouncing around on these dirt tracks, just kind of poking around and exploring with no real goal. That's awesome. Sadly, it's time to say goodbye to this forest, fuel up the car, as well as myself, and make some tracks back to North Carolina. Camping in this small part of Florida was both surprising, and yet everything I had hoped for. But it's about time that I start making my plans for traveling back to the Pacific Northwest, and see many more places as beautiful and special as the ones I've visited on this journey so far.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.